I was the kid that was the allergy kid. When 2015, 2016 really began, it was to the point where it became disfiguring. They had done the prick test, they had done the shots. I went through 5 years worth of shots. They said that there was a ton of different foods that I had allergies to, so I just eliminated those. And what was interesting is that I've known so many people that have eliminated foods and they've done super great. In my case, I eliminated all these foods, but nothing changed. I did talk to my practitioner about this. I said, I've been going through this physical, being distorted trauma and trying to figure things out emotionally and physically for the last 3 years. I think that I might need to go talk to somebody. That was the third piece to my healing journey. Not only was it the herbal therapy, the hydrotherapy, but also that emotional therapy that I went through. And I got to tell you, when you emotionally heal, your life just begins to flourish. Once the how-to was given to release the old trauma, I would remember them, but I wouldn't feel them anymore.
Good.
I wouldn't feel them to the point where it would make my skin hot or my eczema symptoms would come back. Once it was released, it was as if I could see it from a distance. The woman that I dealt with, her name is Pat Steadstill, and she's based out of the US in Georgia. When Pat was unavailable, her practitioner, who helped her through provided some emotional guidance, her name was Cindy. She's incredible as well.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Carol. Good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. How's your week been?
You know what? It's been good. I've got a workshop coming up this week, so I've been busy preparing for that.
Oh, wonderful.
So you've been busy. How's your week?
Yeah, well, I did mine yesterday, my workshop. So today's kind of coming down a little bit.
That'll be Sunday for me.
Yeah. Oh, right. So thank you once again for coming on to Carol Fraser YouTube channel to come and talk to my audience. And I just want to explain the reason why I invited you. And that is coming from a story we had from one of your clients.
Stephanie?
That's right. She gave us her amazing story of healing, and you were one of the key players in that journey that she had. And I was fascinated by what you do. I've joined your Facebook page. I have found the work that you do very helpful. I've been using it. I'm actually sleeping a bit better at night.
Very good.
I've been implementing some of the tools that you put in, and we'll talk about some of those things so our audience know what you do. Now, sure. You describe yourself as a calming practitioner. And I just want you to explain to our audience what a calming practitioner does and tell us a little bit about your work.
Absolutely. I am a certified Eutaptics advanced practitioner, and you probably have heard me say there's just a little over 50 of us in the entire world now. I just checked on that yesterday, and I think there's about 53 of us. And I label myself as a calming engineer. And the reason I do that is when I work with clients that come to me with an issue, we always try to get down to that root cause of what the issue is. And once we find it, I absolutely start breaking it apart. And then we work on all the little pieces parts and put it back together so that you have a different behavior and a different outcome in the future. So kind of like an engineer, takes things apart and examines it and then finds a new way to put it back together again and make it work better. That's what I do. And,
with my work as a naturopath, I go into things like when I talk about the root cause from my level, I'm talking about nutrition and minerals, looking at the root cause in terms of hormonal imbalances.
Yeah.
But what you do is, and it's all part of the holistic approach, which is to get into the root cause in terms of the in-depth things like perhaps possible traumas. And sometimes people do not actually know that there is a trauma that they're dealing with.
Right.
So give us a little bit about, because I know you do it from what, a metaphysical level.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the funny thing is, I could be working with somebody that might have, maybe let's just say weight problem. All right. And they want to get down to, they want to lose weight.
Mhm.
Or I could be working with somebody that has some grief and loss. But once you start working with people for whatever reason they come to me for, it always leads back to an emotional trauma somewhere, whether it's in the childhood, which a lot of them are in, a lot of it does come from childhood, but sometimes it's, you could have a great childhood, but then you have some sort of emotional trauma as a young adult or, as an adult. So I can be working with somebody that wants to lose weight, but the whole reason they're keeping their weight on is because maybe they were sexually abused as a child, and their subconscious keeps them heavier, so to speak, so they're not as attractive. It's a subconscious thing. They're not doing it logically. So it's a subconscious thing. So I can have somebody come to me for one reason, but then I'm always dealing with something different underneath. Does that make sense?
Yes. So tell
Yes.
me, because I know you shared with me
Mhm.
a story about a young woman, and I'd like you to share. That was one of the cases that really stood out to you, and what you did in this case with this person's trauma.
Was that the one about the rape?
Yes.
Yes, that one. Actually, her sister had come to me and said, "Would you please work with my sister? She was raped 30 years ago on the eve of her birthday. And for the last 3 decades, she cannot celebrate her birthday. In fact, she couldn't even stand to be in that same month, like that entire month. She would have a panic attack. And so we worked together in 2 sessions, and which is 4 hours because each session is 2 hours. And by the time we get done with that second session, it was completely gone. And she saw this particular event as an unfortunate incident, which she was not a victim of. In her mind, she's like, I was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. And what that did is her reframing of that situation and coming to peace with what happened
Yeah.
absolutely took away everything that she had been harboring inside for 30 years. So then she was able to enjoy her birthdays for the next, and that was 2 years ago. So she's had great birthdays the last 2 years.
And it doesn't take very long, does
No.
it? This the sessions that you do.
Yeah.
I know with you've got a group of
Mhm.
women that you work with,
Mhm.
and it was meant to be a 12-week program, but they found it so beneficial that they're still with you 18 months later.
They are. Yes.
And
Yes.
tell us about some of the practices. And then at the end of those practices, you do a kind of review and you do one-to-one support.
In that 12-week program, is that what you're talking about?
Well, at the moment, it was the 12-week program, but they've gone on to still work with you, but you do a Tuesday night session, Tuesday evening session.
Yeah. Once we got through that 12-week program, again, they found it so beneficial for the accountability and the support that that's why they stayed. So beyond that 12 weeks, we get together one night a week, which is Tuesday nights for our group. And somebody will be in I call it the magic seat, getting a session while everybody taps along, or they get the same benefits. Or if nobody really wants to be in the magic seat that week, I have what I call a round robin. And I'm like, okay, just bring all your crap from the last week. Basically, that's what I say. Just bring anything that's bothered you, and let's just eliminate it. Let's get rid of it. And so, in fact, this past Tuesday, one of the girls came to the session, and she's like, my husband said something that was really hurtful to me. And I just keep rehashing it, and she gets that feeling in her stomach, and I'm like, all right, let's get rid of this. And I think it was probably about 10 minutes. It was completely gone.
That's right. You get people from a very stressed state, and then
Yeah.
kind of like work with them within 10 minutes, they become a lot calmer in themselves.
Yeah, I had a lot of tools and techniques that I learned through my training, and I know which ones to kind of pull out. Just kind of like having your tools in your tool belt, and you know which ones to pull out. Like if it's something that they're rehashing in their head, then I've got maybe a technique that'll work for voices in the head, because sometimes you'll rehash conversations and you'll hear the tone of their voice or whatever, or if it's something they're seeing, I have different techniques for what they're seeing in their mind. So yeah, it's just knowing which technique to pull out to use in that specific situation.
Because pain goes deeper. That is, we talk about more that deeper than skin deep. So you're working more, would you say, is it more on a psychological level?
Yeah, it's a thought process. It all goes down to just our thoughts. Sometimes, here's a fascinating thing I have found, is sometimes people are holding on to secrets that they've never told anybody because it didn't feel safe or they didn't want to be judged. And many times I'll be working with a client and my one question will be, is there a deep, dark secret that you've never told anybody? And man, sometimes the flood waters will just, they'll just start crying. And that is exactly what needed to be worked on. But when people hold things inside, then it doesn't go anywhere and it eats away at the body. So when you talk about this holistic, whole mind body thing, emotions will get trapped in the body. And when there's pain in the body, it's like it's your body screaming for attention. There's something going on there. Along with everything else like you do, there's also the emotional component of maybe what's trapped inside.
Absolutely. And it's looking at that whole approach, because Cindy was doing all the right things in terms of going down that route of her, self-healing. She had found a holistic practitioner. She was on point with her diet. They were doing colonic flushes, and she was quite open about all of what was happening. And if people haven't seen that video, I'll put the link below. Stephanie Bohr, of course. And I just was really, when they had realized that there was more going on, they actually, they looked you up and they put Stephanie in touch with your services. And that was what she called it was like the final key to her healing. So having listened to her story, it's really opened up my mind a lot more. I knew about that side of the person, but I can't do everything. I don't know everything.
Right.
I know what I know, and I know what I can do for people on a cellular level, but there is a cellular level that goes deeper into the subconsciousness. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I always say the subconscious is the driver of the bus.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. Subconscious is the driver of the bus. And we just don't, it's what gets us to work without even realizing how we got to work, because we drive, subconsciously. We just know how to get there. So a lot of what we do in everyday life is driven by the subconscious. And that's the part that I get to, or I strive to get to figure out what is driving their behavior or their pain or their disease today.
And one of the things she said was, people would say, you need to talk to someone, you need to, get it out, you need to talk. And she kept saying she'd been to people to talk, but she said it was still there. She was like, yeah, what do I do with it? I can talk about it, but how do I actually get it out? Maybe you can explain that part of it.
And that's what I tell a lot of people is, talking is great. Talk therapy is great. And I would never put down any other type of therapy, because every therapy has its own place. And that works, but it's like this works 10 times faster because it's the how part.
Yeah.
You're not just talking about it. Now let's find out where in your childhood. So I can ask somebody about what they're feeling right now. And then when I ask them, well, where in your past have you felt those same sensations before? And they'll go, oh, well, when I was a kid, this came up, and then a memory would come up. And then that is the memory, because I always trust the subconscious. That's the memory we will work on. And it's usually a traumatic or emotional event for them, because as a child, maybe it was no big deal for the parents, but for the child to internalize whatever it was, a child does not know what to do with those emotions, and a lot of children are told they're not validated, they're not heard. So they stuff all those feelings down inside. And so it's that part that we get to, and we make peace. I always say you've got to release the pain in the past in order to release the pain in the body.
Yeah.
So once we make peace with the past and all those events that come up, that's when they start having miraculous changes with their body and their disease and their pain, or whatever it is that they're dealing with. It's magical.
And so from there, I'm talking about Stephanie again.
Yeah.
Having unlocked that key, all of the work that she was doing, finally, she actually came to her full completion of healing. Yeah. I mean, seeing how she was physically, and people have seen the before and after pictures. I mean, it was quite visible in her body what was going on. And then when she finally turned that third key, her body was able to then release and heal. And so many people give up on themselves. You must have had people that have come to you, said, there's nothing really that anyone can do for me. I get people like that. And now when I think further on, knowing the work that you do, that's going to be very valuable in terms of referring. But yeah, people probably come to you and think there's nothing that can be done with me. I'm completely broken. Doctors have tried everything. I've done all the right things. You must have heard that time and time again.
Oh yeah. And the one point I drive home is, I want you guys, I say to them, I want you to know you're not broken. You don't need fixed. You're just operating from what you have inside of you. Yeah. So actually, you're very successful at how you are producing your problems right now, whatever those problems are, because it's all programming that we've had since childhood. So there's nothing wrong with you. We just got to figure out what the program is that you're running inside. It's like those apps on your phone that run in the background, you don't know they're running, but they are. Your mind's the same way, because your subconscious has recorded everything you've experienced throughout your entire life. And those are the quick fixes. I want to say it's not really a quick fix, but it's what gives you the more rapid transformation is to get down to those issues. And that's what happened with Stephanie. And she had worked with another practitioner ahead of me. So, she had worked with Pat. And so that laid a lot of the groundwork. So Pat worked on some things. And then once she came to me, I worked on other things. And then everything together just gave you the miraculous results that you can now see.
That's right. I mean, she was a child, she said in her story, that never went out. Yeah. And I took a sneak peek at her YouTube channel. I saw her little growing garden. She was telling me how she goes out in the dirt now and she's growing food. Before she couldn't even touch anything, because it was all, people felt her family thought it was all down to her eczema, her allergies. So, and that's from a child. And now obviously she's an older woman, and having come through all of that at such a late life. And imagine at that age, you probably don't feel, you feel exhausted. You've tried everything. Right. But I just loved her tenacity. And she went on and she found, and it is possible, and it's just being connected at the right time.
Absolutely. And she was a great client to work with, because she showed up saying, I want change. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And so she was so open and so willing to heal that she was just wonderful to work with.
So tell me, how do people, because Stephanie was referred to you, so these holistic practitioners knew about the type of work that you and Pat do, and she was referred. But how would people come across someone like yourself? Because it's not a referral that maybe medical doctors would do, is it?
No, it's not. And this is something medical doctors really don't know much about. Some will embrace it. Some doctors are opening their minds more to the emotional connection to pain and disease, but many are not. It's funny because with only 53 of us in the world, you wonder, how do you find us? And so anybody that has known about meridian tapping, EFT, will many times find their way to faster EFT, which EFT, which is the tapping port, is just a portion of, and many people get turned on to these YouTube videos for faster EFT. And it's just like one link goes to another link, goes to another link, and they will watch these faster EFT videos. And then they'll be, I want to find a practitioner that can do that. So that's how it all starts, is they start getting very curious about, where can I find somebody to work with that knows how to do what I'm watching on YouTube.
Yeah. And you obviously have a channel. But
not yet. I don't know, but I am going to be starting.
You will have one. That'd be great.
Yes.
So at least it'll be easier to find. But you tell us about your Facebook page. How do people find you?
Yeah, I've got a private Facebook group and it's free. And that was facebook.com/groups with an S on the end / calming your inner storm. And I started that probably about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit longer than that, just to kind of bring people into my world, to introduce them to what I was doing, because I had just finished all my training. It took me 3 years to go through training. I just got my certification, and I wanted to bring them into my world and just start introducing the things that I had learned over the last 3 years. And so that's how that group was born. And then I started some calming challenges. I've done lots of little different things in that group over the last year and a half, started my group program. But that is my ecosystem, so to speak, where I can bring people into a free Facebook group and let them get to know me and what my work and what my personality is all about.
And that's calming your inner storm. And I've certainly been on your group. I love the tools that you use. They're easy to implement in your day-to-day life. It doesn't feel like a chore that you feel you're going to put off. And I like the idea that you can at least feel good. You do feel good, even achieving one. And you said, even if you achieve 1 or 2. And that's what I like about, and they're easy, practical guides that you can use in your day-to-day life. Yeah. So people come to join your group, can learn a lot more, can get to know you, to see, get a feel of what you do. And is there also a link to, if people wanted to actually take it further and have one-to-ones with you, how would they book that?
You can go to my website, which is calmingyourinnerstorm.com. Okay. So same name, just calmingyourinnerstorm.com. And then that has information on like my one-to-ones, my Calming Academy, which is that 12-week course. And see, what else do I have on there? I have a superpower session. So I got like a little tiny session for 75 minutes that just gives a little transformation, so they can get a feel of working one-to-one with me and feel that transformation very quickly, so we can work on one minor thing. And then my workshops will also be on there as well pretty soon. I don't have those on there yet, but I've started workshops every month. Like November, I had a workshop on anxiety. Last month was a workshop on fear. Wow. And then this Saturday is a workshop on grief and loss.
Whoa, sounds good. And what about things like jealousy?
Haven't done it yet. I mean, I've worked with private clients, but that is on my list of things to do for a workshop. Because I've got workshops planned out like for the next 3 years with a different topic every month. I can't wait. I look forward to them.
Brilliant. So I'm going to put your links in the description as well, so people know where to find you. And I'll continue to utilize you know what, I think I might even book a session. Even listening to you now has said to me, definitely, Carol, come on, book something with Cindy. But
yeah, that little power session for 75 minutes can be really, really powerful. We can get through a lot. I just helped a nurse that deals with COVID patients and everything she's been dealing with, and I just did a power session with her last week because she wasn't sleeping. And so now she's sleeping again after this session. So,
and that's absolutely, I've got a client who's really struggling with, actually, I'm going to tell her, of course I have to. and she suffers with anxiety, and she's struggling with sleep as well.
Yes.
So, you know, that's just a knock-on effect on both scores. I will definitely give her the link. And I will mention it also in my workshops, because I like to give them something else to refer to other than what I'm doing with them. Because as I said, you know, it's the whole holistic approach, mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really, really beneficial for my clients in future as well.
Very
Cindy,
good.
thank you so much. I feel privileged to talk into one of the 53 practitioners in the world. Honestly.
Oh, geez. Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing.
I love this work. It's just, and I think the reason there's just so few of us is people start to go through the training, and it took, like I said, it took me 3 years, and they just get tired and they end up quitting before they end up finishing. But I wanted to do this so badly that nothing was going to stop me from getting that certification.
And, you know, your work, you know, I know you've, back in 2017, you would have been practicing anyway, because that would have been part of your training.
Yeah.
But the actual work you were doing, you started doing 18 months ago, came at such a time, you know, that it's such a sensitive time right now, isn't it? And I can imagine there were people who had more time to think about working on themselves. So finding someone like you really needs to be blown up, that there are people like you out there that they can go to and work on certain traumas. And one of the reasons why I mentioned jealousy, I've had an issue that stems from childhood. Just talking to you, when you said think about a certain time where you felt that pain. Now there's a trigger where I've had that kind of feeling that's made me feel not green-eyed jealousy about what other people are doing, but there's been that kind of insecurity sometimes within myself. And I thought back to a time where it felt the same, just in the conversation that we're having. And that's why your Facebook groups are so important, because as I said, people may not even understand the trigger. And I know that handbook of metaphysics that you've got, ask a lot of questions, and then they have that aha moment, don't they?
Get curious. Get curious. Where has that felt before? Have you ever been triggered by a song?
Oh my God, yeah.
How about a smell? Do you know your smell triggers something faster than any of your other senses?
Yes.
And you get curious about, where have I felt this before? Oh, where did that smell just take me back to? Where does that song? Because you can hear a song and it may take you back to, you know, exactly where you were when you heard that song, right? That's how the brain works.
It does. I've got a happy song. I've got a happy memory song, which I
and
can
that's
sing,
good.
Yeah, from the age of 3, when I was dancing around the kitchen with my cousin to Where's Your Mama Gone?
But see what your brain did. Your brain linked that song to happy times.
Yeah, and imagine that's quite an early age. I mean, there's a lot that I can't remember. As you get older, your memory fades a little bit and you don't remember everything. My sister might, or my brother might say, do you remember that time? And I'm like, can't remember.
Right.
But that song always brings me back to me dancing in my aunt's kitchen with my cousin at the age of 3 years old.
There you go. See? So that is how magical the brain is. That's how magical your subconscious is. And it just takes somebody like me that's trained to get back there to find that, especially like yours is a happy memory. But if it's linked to, you know, something that's not happy, that's what's driving your behavior today. And you just don't even realize it. So it takes somebody that's trained to get back there. Now let's just work on that little memory. Let's change it. Let's release the pain in it. Let's change the perception of that event so that now we can move on. This works magical and it works fast.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And my daughter, who's had mental health issues stemming from bullying at school, still to this day, she's 23, from the age of 11, still has a PTSD effect of that time, which renders her quite ill. So this could be something that would be so beneficial for her, and I will share your link.
Yeah, and she's giving, and subconsciously, she's giving her power away, her personal power away to that bully.
Exactly. I don't think she realizes it, but
You don't.
yeah.
Let's get the
So-
power back. That's
Yeah.
I want quick results for everybody. I just want everybody to be happy.
I was
I
in
just
fact,
want people to be happy. The quicker I can get them there, the happier it makes me.
of course, it's so rewarding, isn't it? And
Yes.
in fact, I had dinner with my daughter tonight, and I told her about your work, and she was interested in getting the link to your Facebook. So she may be joining as well, Christina.
Yeah, have her jump in my group. All of my lives in the last year and a half are archived in the guide 1 in that group, so you can go back and watch any video you want. So they're all there.
Brilliant. I'd love it if she was to finally get maybe book a session with you. I've been trying to persuade her, but she's got to come to her own
Absolutely.
conclusion as to what she needs, and maybe having a look at your work might lead her to that at the right time.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This has been a pleasure. As you can tell, I love talking about this. So thanks for inviting me.
That's great. Thank you so much for coming on here. And
You're very
like
welcome.
I said, I'll post your links here so people can find you.
All right.
Well,
Thanks,
enjoy the rest
Carol.
of your week. I know you've got a busy one. Take care.
Yes. Take care, Carol. Bye-bye.
Bye.